Does Marcia?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for being here. And hunger is a problem that we all need to address, regardless of income, regardless of party. We have a hunger crisis, but it should not be a hunger crisis in this wealthy state of ours. If it is a crisis, it's a moral crisis, because the measure of a society is how it treats those in the dawn of life, our young, those in the sunset of life, our elderly, and those in the shadow of life, our disabled. And these are the very people who are going hungry today in this state, unnecessarily. We know that New Jersey is one of the highest cost of living states in the Union. It costs more to shelter our poor than everyone else, and it costs more to buy food. All you have to do is go to the grocery store and look at the cost of bread, of eggs, staples like milk that children and elderly people need to survive. In this state today, it costs more for a gallon of milk than it costs for a gallon of gas. That is immoral. We need to do what's necessary to feed the people in this country and in this state. And we cannot afford to allow $90 to be cut from their food stamp program, because they will not be able to eat. They will not be able to eat. So I appreciate all of you being here, particularly our faith-based community, and helping us to put the pressure where it belongs, on government. Because if this $3.2 million is no cost to the taxpayers, that's the shame of it all. We can use that, find that $3.2 million in federal dollars in order to prevent these cuts from taking place. And in this time of the year, everybody is thinking of the poor and looking to feed the poor. But they have to eat every day of the year, not just during the Thanksgivings and the Christmas. They only come once a year. But if we can restore that SNAP program, they'll be able to eat every day of the year. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Reverend clergy and my colleagues in the Assembly. We as legislators do hear you. We as legislators do understand, because we deal with constituents every day. And I was going to say, so I think you said the Morristown and Bernardsville areas, and I was going to bring up Bergen County, but Senator Turner said it all. It's not just Bergen County that we feel that, you know, it's not happening in these elite areas, or let's say areas that have resources. Senator Turner said New Jersey is full of resources. So we should not look at the counties and saying it doesn't happen there. It shouldn't be happening in New Jersey. But I do want to bring up that there are a couple of bills on the agenda today in the Assembly, and I have support from my colleagues, Gary Scher, who just left. I'm going to go through the room because you've been some great supporters in Human Services. Carmelo Garcia, Tim Eustace, Smiley J.C., and Annette Chiano, and John McKeon. We have bills that, let's talk about not only not having enough food, but when there is help, the process is being delayed through computer glitches that we talked about the other day in Human Services, spending over $100 million. $100 million. How much food could we buy with that? The purpose of the CAS system was to integrate all of the counties so they can implement their welfare departments to expedite those people that were Medicaid eligible to get help and relief. We're going back 5-6 years, and we waited till now to terminate the contract. We don't have answers, and you know what? We will get those answers, but in the meantime, what are we doing about it? How are we expediting those people that are on so-called waiting to receive Medicaid eligibility? where are we going? So 2 bills that we have up today with the support of my colleagues. One is to get receipts. That sounds like a no-brainer. I said receipts. Receipts is to make sure when the application is filed that all of the points or the questions that were asked are answered. How many times are these people waiting to fill out applications thinking they filled them out and they're not filled out properly? So one of those bills will help getting receipts for Medicaid application for SNAP. The second one is to expedite those households that people are receiving $150 a month, to include them, to expedite to become Medicaid eligible so they can put food on their table, making less than $150 a month. So can this help? Of course it can. Can it be, can it cure all? No, it can't. But it can stop the delays where people are waiting and waiting. And the delays, they're just sitting there waiting to see if they're Medicaid eligible. In the meantime, there's no money to put food on their table. And there's also a bill, as Assemblyman Chair just left, to make sure, we talk about school lunches, we're talking about breakfasts as well. Starting off our day with good breakfast. How many towns in District 37, one of the wealthiest areas in the state, our kids are waiting for breakfast? We're asking to put 10 cents in addition to get federal funding back. So we hear you as legislators. We hear you. The administration needs to hear us. Thank you.
Any other Senate people, Senator Garcia, want to say a couple words?
Well, first and foremost, it's an honor to be a part of this movement. I had the great pleasure of speaking at the Anti-Poverty Network Conference. And under the leadership of our Chairwoman of Human Services, Valerie Huddle, and Senator Lesniak, we are tackling this problem because it's a real crisis. I know firsthand at the age of 10 what it was like to be hungry when we were homeless. So I am very passionate about joining you and ensuring that we continue to try to resolve these problems. But as the Chairwoman spoke, the reality is that we're wasting monies on computer systems that are obsolete now, when we could have put that back into the SNAP program. And we are working diligently to ensure that we tackle this problem. We have other bills that we're working on with the Performance Bonus Award that will be tied to the adequacy of staffing. And it's a matter of, I always say, messaging and the empowerment and the hope that this brings. You guys are giving us and the public that hope, and we thank you tremendously, and we will continue to be a champion, as Senator Lesniak said, because we know firsthand that this is a crisis. But without you and us together united, we won't be able to solve it. So I thank you all. God bless you.
So Assemblywoman Jaycee from the 27th District. First of all, I welcome partnering, the opportunity to partner with the faith community. And the only thing I want to add to this conversation, because I think it's all been said, is that this weekend I was horrified to read online that the incoming Republican Senate, the new senators on the Republican side, are committing to defunding the National SNAP program. And if there is any truth to that, okay, we have a lot of work to do, not just here on the state level, but on the federal level, because it speaks to an attitude that I think is immoral and unconscionable, and in this country, no one should be going to bed at night hungry. No one. And so I'm glad that the issue is being raised at the state level, but I think all of us need to be concerned about what is happening also on the national level. And we need to raise our voices, because as legislators, we can certainly pass legislation. But if we don't have a chorus behind us, we can't get it signed. So I thank you for being here, and I certainly pledge our ongoing support to the cause. Thank you.
Good morning. I have a voice, sometimes it comes and goes, but I always make sure I can speak for those that can't speak. we must remember that hunger is a problem, not the hungry. And sometimes we focus on individual and we want to say it's their fault, but it's not their fault. It's all our faults, because we have to make sure that we are vocal. I tell individuals one person can make a difference. So you can make a difference in your community by adopting a food pantry, adopting a program, a feeding program. I was able to get some people involved, and we fed in 1 month, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. We made 2,500 sandwiches, and people would send me things through Facebook. Oh, I want to help. What can I do? And I'm like, all you have to do is go to the food pantry and tell them that you want to help. You can help if it's your time, if it's your money, or if you bring food, you help. I think too many individuals sit back and say, it's such a big problem, what can I do? So together, as we partner, it's a multiple-pronged approach. How can we help our neighbor? I, years ago, started, and it was just talking to individuals, a community garden program. We have 18 community gardens, and they're not one is typical of a community garden. It's whatever anyone had. So a firehouse had some land. We sent individuals to plant food. Our Jewish family services in Elizabeth, they had a front yard and a side yard. Well, they are producing over 800 pounds of food annually to help people. So it's as legislators, yes, we're going to pass some bills. We're going to be vocal. As legislators, we have to make sure we restore the federal funding. But also as people of our own communities, we have to go back and make sure that every individual knows one can make a difference in someone's life if it's food that they need. And that we have to make sure that we think outside of the box. We're going to have government help, but what can we as people, when we partner together and we help each other, we realize we have to help our neighbors. What can we do? So we teach our young children to collect those cans. We teach our adults that, you can always, when you go to the supermarket, you can always donate a few boxes of food for a family. And then we all know different businesses and corporations, we can ask them. Sometimes it's really the ask. And other times we're overwhelmed with the need. I have found myself at one of the feeding centers in tears because I see my neighbors. They're not just a number, they're people. And there are people that are there because our economy is not good. And there are people that are there that have never been there before and don't even know how to ask. As when someone said that someone came and they were apologetic. They should never be apologetic. We as a society should provide food for the hungry. So I pledge my assistance as an individual, as a legislator, and we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of doors to knock, and we have to make sure we take care of it in New Jersey, and if we have to go to DC, we make sure our senators and our legislators knock on that door too. Thank you.
May I just add something to a suggestion that was just made? I spoke about the Islamic perspective and an obligation for all of us to do that, but I also belong to the Rotary Club. And I wanted to mention that in 2015, the Rotary district that I am a part of, which is 7510, if you happen to belong to a Rotary Club, work in your organizations and support this program, because our district has decided that in March, we're going to have a special event focused throughout the entire district with about 30 clubs that will focus on solving the hunger problem, however we can do in our local area. I happen to belong to the Rotary Club of Bradford, and I serve as the president of the foundation of that club. In order to handle all of our charitable contributions that come in and feeding people in our own community, once a month our club cooks in the morning. Instead of having a regular meeting, we spend that 1 hour to cook the food and we take it to ship in Somerset, in Somerville. And then of course once a month we also collect canned food that we can bring into the same organization. So there are many other avenues in addition to our faith groups that we can actually serve the people who really need this help.
I just want to take a moment, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. I'm a Rotarian, and our Rotary clubs do a good job of trying to feed the world, not just New Jersey. But I wanted to tag on to what Tom said and our senator said. We work in Africa every summer, and our problems are not caused by famine. They're not caused by drought. We are not a problem in search of a solution. The solution exists. And we are part of the solution, you are part of the solution. But the larger solution is this country is the breadbasket to the world. Statistics came out last week on how many tons, hundreds of tons of food we throw away. And New Jersey leads the country in thrown away food. I think as legislators, it's incumbent on us to find a solution to that, about how we get that food to the needy. And certainly in our communities, Rotary clubs as well, we can go to the local supermarkets and say, don't throw it out. They have programs in Manhattan where they drive trucks around and collect all the food and get it to the homeless. We can solve that problem. And that is, this is not something we can't solve. This is with the right guts and the right hope and the right faith, this is an easy thing to solve. We just need to stick with it. It's a shame it's been going around for so long. Thank you.
I am going to wrap up the program. I want to thank everyone so very much, and I want to really reiterate, the goal of today is the New Jersey Anti-Hunger Coalition has a legislative agenda. We have some bills that have dropped that respond directly to this legislative agenda. We need to move the bills that exist, create the bills that don't exist. These bills are in direct response to the heat cut. They focus directly on the population that's impacted by that cut. They focus on helping the county welfare agencies streamline the system, which was part of what he did, in terms of easing the verifications process. The whole goal of all of our SNAP, which is food stamp recommendations, is to ease the process, bring the senior and disabled communities back into the program, try and beef up benefits as much as humanly possible, and get the county welfare offices working as efficiently as they can. And in terms of school breakfast, the whole focus is to feed as many kids through schools as we can. What we see, again, and what we have heard today, is that charity cannot do it. We need to beef up our federal feeding programs. It brings federal funds into the state, and we all know where the state is in terms of bringing federal funds back in. And it feeds people in the places and through the programs that were designed to feed them in the first place. Thank you again so much. Tommy, any closing words? Anything you want to? Thank you all so much.